and today we're going to be doing Rich Dad Poor Dad, Chapter 8, Part 2. Getting started. Lesson 1. Find a reason greater than reality. The power of spirit. If you ask most people if they would like to be rich or financially free, they would say yes. But then reality sets in. The road seems too long with too many hills to climb. It's easier to just work for money and hand the excess over to your broker. And then it says, if you do not have a strong reason, there is no sense reading further. It will sound like too much work. Then, number 2, make daily choices. The power of choice. Choice is the main reason people want to live in a free country. We want the power to choose. Financially, with every dollar we get in our hands, we hold the power to choose our future, to be rich, poor, or middle class. Our spending habits reflect who we are. Poor people simply have poor spending habits. The benefit I had as a boy was that I loved playing Monopoly constantly. Nobody told me Monopoly was only for kids, so I just kept playing the game as an adult. I also had a rich dad who pointed out to me the difference between an asset and a liability. So a long time ago, as a little boy, I chose to be rich, and I knew that all I had to do was to learn to acquire assets, real assets. My best friend Mike had an asset column handed to him, but he had still chose to learn to keep it. Many rich families lose their assets in the next generation simply because there is no one trained to be a good steward over their assets. And then, Lesson 3. Choose friends carefully. The power of association. First of all, I do not choose my friends by their financial statement. I have friends who have actually taken a vow of poverty as well as friends who earn millions a year. The point is that I learned from all of them. Now, I will admit that there are people I've actually sought out because they had money, but I was not after their money. I was seeking their knowledge. In some cases, these people who had money have become dear friends. I've noticed that my friends with money talk about money. They don't do it to brag. They're interested in the subject. So I learn from them, and they learn from me. My friends who are in dire financial straits do not like talking about money, business, or investing. They often think it rude or unintellectual. So I also learn from my friends who struggle financially. I find out what not to do. And then, hold on. And then Lesson 4. Lesson 4. Master a formula and then learn a new one. The power of learning quickly. In order to make bread, every baker follows a recipe, even if it's only held in their head. The same is true for making money. Most of us have heard the saying, you are what you eat, and I have a different slant. I say, you become what you study. In other words, be careful what you learn, because your mind is so powerful that you become what you put in your head. For example, if you study cooking, you then tend to cook. If you don't want to become a cook anymore, then you need to study something else. And then Lesson 5. Pay yourself first. The power of self-discipline. If you cannot get control of yourself, do not try to get rich. It makes no sense to invest, make money, and blow it. It is the lack of self-discipline that causes most lottery winners to go broke soon after winning millions. It is the lack of self-discipline that causes people who get a raise to immediately go out and buy a new car or take a cruise. It is difficult to say which of the 10 steps is the most important, but of all the steps, this step is probably the most difficult to master if it is not already part of your makeup. I would venture to say that personal self-discipline is the number one factor between the rich, the poor. The number one delineating factor between the rich, the poor, and the middle class. So, that's Rich Dad Poor Dad, Chapter 8, Part 2. Like and subscribe.